you just mentioned moments ago, the arms race in the AFC is off the charts. I mean, off the charts in the AFC West alone. And then you've got Burrow in the AFC North with Lamar and Trevor Lawrence. Who knows how much of a leap he can make, and young quarterbacks that have been drafted in the AFC East to go along with Josh Allen, for crying out loud. So the Colts now have an opening, and I'm wondering what you think their positioning is. Is it similar to what you just said about Seattle in terms of capitulating to a bad relationship and it's going to be a problem? What do you think?
Well, I think the difference is, and I was taking a lot of heat for the Wentz mistake, but I think Chris Ballard is, if not the best, and the best couple of general managers in the league, and he knows he's got to fix this. I think they'll make some move that will be reasonably aggressive short-term and then try to find a long-term solution. So I actually think the speculation about somebody like Jimmy Garoppolo ending up in Indianapolis has a real chance, and I think there'll be a few bidders on that. I think it's probably the type of person you could see a Pittsburgh type of team target as well. So I think San Francisco is going to benefit by being kind of patient here and letting this play out a little bit, and then kind of ending up with maybe two or three teams that really badly need a quarterback, are in a position to win short term, and he may be the last guy standing that gives any team a serious chance of winning in the immediate future with the talent they have. And I think that's the Colts. I think the Colts are a much, much better team than we realize right now. They just need to get that quarterback spot at a high level.
So let's talk a little bit about Wentz now. I'll unpin it now that we're on the subject matter. And, you know, your former team in Philadelphia, and you know Howie Roseman very well, an aggressive move made for him. And we know his whole story about having an MVP season before his reckless play, you could say. I mean, he was a reckless abandon, however you want to put it. That we've seen over and over again from him, knocked him out. Foles wins the championship. He winds up in Indianapolis eventually. He's now one and done. And now he's a twice traded quarterback. What is your assessment of Wentz now that you've seen him as a pro for all these years, and what gives is essentially the question. Joe?
Yeah, just first to be clear and transparent, I was a big fan of that pick. I was a big fan of his play. I was a big fan of them giving him a long, very, at the time, expensive contract. So take what I say next with a grain of salt, since I'm 0 for 3 in my predictions about Wentz so far. But
right.
I just think at this point, you know, there's enough evidence on the table. You got two of the smartest front offices in football that were deeply invested in this guy and had to pay a huge price to not have him on their team anymore. And then you can watch what you can see with your own eyeballs every Sunday. I just don't see how you turn around and make a bet on that guy to lead your team and be able to beat some of the quarterbacks that we were just talking about, some of the quality of the teams that we're seeing out there, just again in their own division. I don't even see how they get to winning the division, you know, with this kind of move. And this is always one of my pet things, since I felt like negotiating was one of my strengths. Who did they think they were bidding against that they had to pay that in compensation and take on the entire contract? So I've actually been very critical of the trade. Wentz will make some spectacular plays. He'll have some games in which you're like, oh, my God, we did find the guy. But when the 17 games are done, you're going to be disappointed in his play. That's what I believe at this point. But as I say, I'm 0 for 3 on my analysis of Wentz, so take it how you want.
Well, what's the scuttlebutt or word or what have you on his locker room presence and things of that nature and off the field? There's just always some sort of hum in the background, right? Some sort of noise about that. And I'm wondering what you may, you know, wouldn't Washington know something before making that trade? Right.
You'd like to think so, and you said it right. I mean, he does manage to have a few players in each of the places that he's been that gravitate towards him, become very close to him, you know, are very committed to him. I mean, you know, we saw Darius Leonard speak out the other day. This is not some unimportant player that doesn't know the difference between good guys and bad guys, or good players and bad players. And in each place we've had a few of those, but that's the minority. It's hard to identify why. I mean, he's no doubt strong-willed. He's no doubt hard to coach. Everybody that's worked with him has made it clear that he has sometimes too much confidence. But we're going to see the same thing that's going to happen in Washington. He's going to have a group of guys that are going to be very enthralled and taken with him and want to play with him and, you know, help him take them somewhere. but he's also going to have a larger group. Then it's just not going to feel right about him as the leader of their team or the organization. And, you talk to different people, you get kind of different explanations or theories. Nothing seems that clear as to, what it is about him that causes people to react that way. But if they think they're bringing somebody in who's going to kind of continue the improvement of the culture that I think Ron Rivera has started in Washington, I don't think this is the right guy to do that. He's just too controversial.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.